In the previous video, we discussed the new elements in HTML5 and their purpose. In this video, we're going to show you how to use these structural elements and how they help you make your markup more semantic and also help define the main landmarks in the document. But first, I'd like to explain what semantic means. Semantic is defined as meaning. So semantic elements are elements with meaning. A semantic element clearly describes its meaning to both the browser and the developer. So for example, non-semantic elements would be div and span, which tell you nothing about its content. Examples of semantic elements such as form, table, and image clearly define its content. And as mentioned in the introduction video, semantic elements are supported by all major browsers. Let's take a look at the difference in the basic markup between HTML4 and HTML5, starting with the doc type declaration. When you compare the two, you can see that the HTML5 doc type is much shorter, easier to type, and easier to remember. Now here in HTML4, we're using ID and class tag selectors to define our elements and the content within, and we're commenting out the closing element with a description to help us know where we are in the document when our lines of code get longer and we're trying to figure out where a particular element ends. Now let's take a look at how we write up the same structure in HTML5. So instead of using a div and an ID of header, we're simply just going to use the header element. And this will group all of our assets. So we'll put our company logo in here. And then for the menu, we're going to use the nav element. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. For our main content, we'll utilize a section element. And last but not least, our footer element. And instead of using the paragraph element, we're going to use the small element. The small element often appears within a footer or in a side element. It typically contains copyright information, legal disclaimers, and other fine print. Note that it's not intended to make the text smaller. You may choose to style its content smaller than your main text, but as with other elements, its role is to describe its contents. So that's it for semantic structure in a document. Next we'll dive into converting a Photoshop file into an HTML5 web page.